Welcome to the Fempire podcast for women building empires where your health, relationships, and wealth rise together. Here we focus on what moves the needle the most. I am your host, Jessica Joy. Let's sharpen the axe and dive in. Today, we have a special guest. So this is Aimée Drost, and she is a premium business mentor. And she is the creator of the Premium Expansion Model, where she's helping coaches and healers generate high revenue months, but being very strategic about positioning, systems, and identity level growth, which we all know drives the business and impacts what you're able to do. She also leads Millionaire Breathwork, which is a modality to help bring all this together. So we're going to be talking about selling in a way that feels authentic. We're going to be talking about psychology of high-level buyers, creating offers that really match your pricing, and some of the inner shifts that bring it all together. So, hey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Jessica, for having me and such a beautiful introduction. I'm very excited to dive into the conversation with you.
Yes, same. And Aimée brought some amazing gifts at the end, so stay tuned, but let's dive in. So first, I always like to ask, how did you get into this? And tell us more from your perspective about what you do.
So, how I got into this is really, I have always loved marketing. It's always been one of the things that to me actually was really exciting. A lot of people see it as something negative, but to me, it is communicating and figuring out if you can actually help someone. And so when I was on my path with corporate, I was also in corporate doing a customer journey specialist. So that was a little bit of my passion. But then at some point I got into a burnout, and that burnout made me realize that I wasn't living the life that I was meant to be living. But my passion for marketing never went away. So I was sitting at home healing from a very severe burnout, reading all the books I could find from all the internet gurus, from Russell Brunson. And I was like, yeah, I finally have the time. Of course, I also had to take care of my mental health and my energy in that time, which was a different story. So as I was growing my business, I was also growing as the woman and understanding a lot about my health and how I was showing up in the world. And I'm sure you can share a lot about health with your audience, and I'm sure you have. And a lot of the things that you work with, I also came across on my healing journey. And as I was doing that and healing myself, getting back to higher energy levels, I also was building my business. So from the very first moment building my business, I was confronted with the question, is this something that I enjoy? Because that's the biggest question they ask when you are in a burnout. Go do the things that you enjoy. What do you actually enjoy? What gives you energy? So when I started building my business, it came from looking at it that way. Also realizing my energy was not, it was kind of the bottleneck. So very early on, I hired a virtual assistant. And that also gave me a lot of perspective of how you can build a business where you're not just working for your hours and trading money for your time, but really thinking bigger. And I was kind of forced to invest in coaches because I knew I wanted to go fast, but I didn't know the roadmap. So there were all these things that kind of accelerated my path because I was healing from burnout. And at some point I was more than I was in a good place again energetically, but because of the journey and because of becoming an entrepreneur and embodying that identity, I wanted more. And so I became this version of me that didn't just heal back to where I was before I got my burnout, but I integrated everything, how I'm showing up in my business, my life, my identity, and I became the 2.0 version of myself as I was scaling my business. So yeah, that's kind of the journey of both strategy and identity work at the same time.
You move quick, and I loved that you said, okay, I wanted to go fast, but I didn't know the roadmap, so then you hire coaches. Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
you just go there faster if you're an action taker, etc. And the other thing I love that you said was, okay, leaning into what you enjoy. I found men and women operate a bit differently in business, and men can operate, I love discipline. We love discipline, we love it. And we need to pair it with what actually lights you up. I think as women, that you'll go faster that way. And then of course we have to do it in a way that it's okay, you're offering things that people would want. So enjoy flowers. I mean, you can make a flower business, but you know what I mean. So I do want to start actually off with identity before we get into, you had such good points about building business. But let's start with the identity piece, because a lot of people are okay, identity in business, why is this important? And I know for me, it always comes down to how big am I allowing myself to play and think, and who do I think I actually am? And if they're not aligning, then it doesn't work. But I would love to hear your take on this.
Yeah, your identity is really what drives everything. It drives how you wake up in the morning, the choices you make, and it's the simple things that are maybe not even business related, but how you see yourself and how you show up, that is your identity. It's not per se, it's not even only how you see yourself, it's also how you're wired, how your nervous system is, how your fascia is holding your body together. All these things determine who you are and how you show up. And the biggest example that most people can relate with is when you're going to a gym, but you're not identifying as someone who goes to the gym, it will take you so much more effort to put on the shoes and the shirt and to actually show up. But when you see yourself as someone who goes to the gym every X amount of days of the week, then it's easy, even when you feel low. So these are the set of quote unquote rules that people have about themselves, subconscious and conscious. And that's what makes them move even when their energy is low, even when they are not in a good mood. Because those seasons will happen in your business. And especially when you are in a low, then sure, maybe you're in a business container, maybe you have a mentor by your side and they can lift you up. But what it really comes down to, can you hold yourself there? Can you be that version that you know yourself to be and actually act like that version? Or are you going to take a different route where you're playing victim and you're just going to feel sorry for yourself? Because that's also an identity and it's our choice who we're going to embody. And that choice determines how we're showing up in the end.
Yeah, it's really what you embody, you will get. And so the more that you're embodying, okay, I'm the woman who like this happens for, I'm the woman who's on a mission creating this, like the more it's alignment with who you're being, like the more it all comes together. And I see it time and time again. It's like the people you can feel somebody's like truth and identity when it's in
Mm.
alignment with where they're going. And then it's so interesting when like sometimes I'll meet people in person, but it's like not translating who they are on social. And I'm like, what's the gap? And I think honestly it has a lot to do with identity.
Yeah.
So thanks for sharing that. I'm curious, what are some practices or things that you do with your clients that really help them expand identity? Because you have to almost change how you operate. Like tell us about how you help your ladies with this.
Yes. I don't only work with ladies, so let's clarify that as
Okay.
well. I work
Thank
with
you.
men and women. And it starts actually before they hire me because this is what marketing is about. Real good marketing is it's two things. It's shifting beliefs so somebody can actually have the same beliefs, which is then also part of your identity. And when they have the same beliefs as you and they see that your offer makes sense for them and that this is the time, they will buy. So a lot of marketing is about shifting beliefs. If you don't do that, if you don't do that the right way, then your clients come to you and they might not be at the point that they can get the best results. So an example here is people that use pain point marketing. They are almost bullying people on the internet, even when like a lot of people are doing this, but yeah, like there's coaches teaching you how to really make someone cry, whether it's in a post or on a sales call. And to me, that is not really ethical. It's not really needed at the same time because people move, your identity moves because of pain, moving away from pain, but also because they're moving towards desire and pleasure. And this is a dance. This is a dance that works in marketing when you're talking to desire, when you're talking to pain points, but it's because it works because we're human. So everything that has to do with marketing and the psychology there, it counts for me, it counts for you. We are also driven by desires and pain points. And when you start to implement this in your marketing, then the person reading that is going to be influenced because marketing is influencing people. And whether you do that with pain point or with desire, that creates a reality for someone in your audience. So when they say yes to your offer based on the marketing process that they went through before meeting you, they are already in a different state, which is their identity. So that's the first shift. And if you're doing pain point marketing, you might attract people that are a lot in their pain, a lot in their victim. Could be exactly the same person as someone who is in hero mentality and can do it all mentality, but then they've been brainwashed by your posts. So this is the power of magic of marketing, but it's also the responsibility that we hold. And that's why for me, when I teach my clients premium offers, I don't just teach it to anyone. I teach it to those who are already skilled because otherwise I would not be in integrity teaching someone how to sell premium offers who has no reason selling them because they cannot deliver. So that's where it starts before I hire them or they hire me. And when they hire me, there is a whole process of onboarding, which also already includes a lot of mind shifts, identity shifts as well. Just by being in my space and in close proximity with me, there is a lot of shifts that happen. I'm sure you can see that as well. And also with in-person events, that's also really big, where you are really calibrating to the level somebody else is at. And that's what you do when you hire a mentor. But the biggest tool that I use is Millionaire Breathwork. And this is the most powerful tool that I've come across, because when you shift identity, sure, you can do mindset work, you can do journaling, you can do meditation. There's a lot of things that you can do, even visualization. But what I've seen is that that takes relatively long. And I also love meditation and visualizations, and they have a place and time. But when I really want to go deep, or when I want to shift fast, I do that with breath work. And my method that I developed is Millionaire Breathwork. It has 3 different pillars to activate your inner millionaire. The first one is about embodied leadership, because we all need to lead. Like, you cannot be a leader without actually going first, with having that identity to be the one that holds space for others. So this is about remembering that you are someone that can hold all of that and move first, and basically remembering who the F you are. That's what the first part is about. The second is wealth capacity. And wealth capacity is about receiving. Am I actually allowing myself to receive? Because if you don't want to receive, the universe can give you everything you want, but you will block it. You will self-sabotage. So this is about being more in the feminine and being open and having an open heart. And then the third pillar of Millionaire Breathwork is sales alchemy, which is a special flavor for the people that I work with, coaches, healers, facilitators, to really take action. Like right now, one of my clients is going through a launch. And of course, you have all the feelings during a launch. Everything comes up. We're not immune to that. Even when you reach a very high level, you will see people spiraling in their own launch, and you need to be able to hold yourself. But sometimes it's very hard because you're in your patterns, you're in your program, in your programming. But with Millionaire Breathwork, you get kicked out of the brain, into the body, into the somatics, into the subconscious. Because with the breath and my audios, the live breath works, but also the audios people can listen. My clients have access to them right away. The breakthrough breathwork, because I have 3 styles, the breakthrough breathwork is the biggest, most powerful one, and it only takes about 35 minutes per session. And one session can give you incredible results and really turn your lowest month into your highest month, can help you break through income ceilings. Like one of my clients, she had 23 months of having between 120 to 180K cash months, and she was stuck at this ceiling. And she worked with me, and after the breath work, she could see beyond the strategies that she had for that month. And that was the first month she really broke through that 200K cash ceiling that she had. So one breath work can do a lot, but continuously doing this work, it changes who you are fundamentally. It changes and shifts your identity. And that's when my clients have certain situations like a launch and early bird ending, not the sign-up amount that they wanted to have, or feeling like they've been put themselves out for way too many hours creating content, but not getting the result they hoped for. Then they might go into a spiral, or they go into the Millionaire Breathwork Club and they get an audio about holding the energy of your launch. And then after that, everything changes. So that's the biggest tool that I use to really shift the identity of my clients that actually they use themselves.
I love that. It's so much about staying out of the spiral, being in the body, being in the truth, and having a tool like that with breath work. Whew, it really taps you in. It's like you can't be in your mind in breath work.
Yeah.
So we actually are going to link one of the gifts of one of your audios. It's one of the audios, right?
Yes.
Work. Yes. So that will be in the show notes, you will see the link to that you can go access it. And then if for some reason, wherever you're watching, there isn't a link, then just reply breath work and we'll get that link over to you. So I was curious about what you're really attuned to psychology and applying this to a high level buyer. A high level buyer isn't going to resonate so much with the pain points like you talked about, because they're already so solution focused and like, how big can I go? But it's like pain points feel like it's just kind of, we know they're there, but it's just not inspiring. So I would love to hear more from you about psychology of high level buyers and positioning your work in a way that 2 things would draw them in. But really, you had talked about like positions the value in a way that's like very, very real. Like how you position it is everything. So if you could go into that, that would be just so juicy.
Yes, I love this because for me, when I found out that I didn't need to use pain point marketing, I was so excited because for many years I was arguing with my business coaches and telling them, I don't want to do this. I want to do it differently. And they kept telling me, if you want to make more sales, this is the way to go.
Same. Yes.
And then I found some other coaches that were more aligned with my way. And then I was like, wow, yeah, actually, what I've been saying is actually working and they have the proof. And now I actually have the permission for myself to go and do it that way. So that's the shift from pain point marketing towards more empowering. But like you said, there's a problem there because you can speak to the power and to the empowering and you will attract more premium buyers. But especially now, compared to 3 years ago, you do need to back that up with more because it's not anymore about just speaking to the desire that can get them excited, of course. But there's so much information out there. There's so many competitors. There's so many different options. So how do you make sure that they get why they need to hire you and why you become the one that they actually hire and not just someone else where they're in your inbox and they're saying, oh my God, you're so inspiring. I love this post. And then 3 weeks later, you see that they signed up with someone else, even though they told you that they didn't have the money. Like this happens a lot. And it's not an issue of them not actually having the money. And it is an issue of your positioning, which if you're only using desire focused marketing, then you can hype them up and you can be their bestie, but you don't actually close the sale these days anymore because you need to be more precise and they need to understand what's happening. So I have a lot of clients because I work mostly with people, coaches, healers, facilitators, retreat leaders who are, some of them are business coaches, but most of them are actually more in the relationship corner or like self-love or they're doing things with breathwork and Kundalini, and then I help them create a real premium niche for that and an offer that matches it. So these people have most of the time intangible offers, and that becomes a little bit of a problem when you're speaking to the desire. Sure, if you have a methodology that works, like Kundalini or NLP or something that is quite well known and has authority for itself, it is a little bit better because some people know the method that you use, and they might have been looking for something like that. But if you really want to speak to someone who has a core problem and wants a premium transformation, it needs to be an urgent desire. So the desire that they want to shift in, there's 3 categories overall, like you can break it down more, but there's 3 core categories, which is health, wealth, and relationship, which is a desire. So you are in health, and I think also for you, it's also that you focus on the core desire health. But this is where a lot of people also make the mistake because, for example, breathwork, you would think it's in the category of health, but it's not how I positioned it because the tool and the how and the method is just breathwork. But the desire here that I'm serving is helping people make more money through breathwork. So this is a very important distinction that people need to know when they're in their marketing speaking about desires and speaking about how they're helping people. So that's the first step. When you have that desire, when you have that clear and you're speaking to it, and maybe people already nailed that, the next step is, what is my unique way? Because even if you choose breathwork or if you choose Kundalini, there's still competition because you're not unique. So people are still guessing, okay, what does it actually mean to do breathwork with her or to do this with that person? And most of the time, what my clients say when they come to me is, yeah, I have incredible client results. People show up to my sessions and they are just a raving fan of my work and they have a lot of word of mouth recommendations, but they cannot put into words what happens in those sessions. And that's the mistake. That's where you cannot change into a premium container because some people here are selling premium, but they are actually just selling a bundle of one-on-one sessions connected into a package that is actually discounted from the actual service. And that's not what I mean when I'm talking about premium. I'm talking premium is an offer. For me, it starts at 2K plus and it can go up to 10K or higher. It can be 100K. But for my clients, we focus on 2 to 10K most of the time as a signature core offer. And from that point, your premium offer is not just about a bundle of sessions or showing up on the call anymore, but it's a transformation. So it's focused on the desire. What is the desire that somebody wants to fulfill? And how am I helping them to get there? And how you're helping them is really the breakdown from the starting point and the end point, and then all the steps in between. And then what I help my clients do is we create a framework for them, a unique framework, so that you can actually scale your impact in your business, your impact and your income. Because when you have this clear, your unique signature framework, it can be translated in so many different places in your business that makes it so much more clear for people to understand what it is that you do, why they need to hire you, if your method is the right for them. And you integrate it in your content, how you show up there. You integrate it when you work with your clients. So there's a lot more intention and there's a lot more focus when they're in your container. There's also a way to scale because it becomes bigger than just you, and you can teach other people how to do your framework. Because we like to think that we're so unique and that nobody else can do what we do, which, yeah, sure, we have our unique energetic blueprints. But at the same time, why wouldn't it be amazing if we could actually teach other people what we do and that more people can be impacted? So that's also a shift to really not just build a business for you, for yourself anymore, but to build a legacy business that goes beyond what you could do on your own. And there also, again, the strategy comes in because we want systems, we want an assistant, we don't need a big team. But you want a business that feels bigger than just you. And that's not just, oh, actually, my bank account is still the same bank account as, like, oh, there's so many big coaches and healers out there who just don't have the structure, the infrastructure in their business to scale. And they're holding it all together. And then they're wondering, why am I feeling dysregulated? I have all the tools. I know how to hold myself. Yes, but your business is dysregulating you right now.
Yeah, structure and support are huge. I'm such an advocate of understanding your method because, and I mean, ultimately, it's like, okay, there's business coaches, relationship coaches, health coaches, primarily are the big buckets, but you have to be able to market yourself differently. And that's where like the methods into play and the framework that you coach people on, and that becomes bigger than you. I think that's such a key element that it has to be bigger than you. It's like, what do you love? What are you the best at? And how is it bigger than you? How is it helping humanity? And I know all the people that would work with you would resonate. Like, they're those types of people. I wrote a poem yesterday. It's about entrepreneurship. It's so short. It's like 2 lines. It's like, I put entrepreneur. I was having a rough day in the biz, right? We have them. No big deal. This is normal.
Happens to all of us.
And I said entrepreneur, S-H-I-T. And then I scratched out the T and put a P, and I'm like, it becomes shizzy when it's just about me, and when you ask like, how is this impacting humanity? And some of those like ups and downs, it's like, it's such a small blip. Okay, a rough day or a couple rough, unexpected flops. Okay, cool. Like, this is so much bigger than me. Let's go.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
the poem was just the concept of when it's about me, it's shitty. Anywho, so I do want to talk about selling because that was another
Mm.
thing that I feel like you're really good at. And all women, we don't want to feel pushy or manipulative, and we also get to empower ourselves around sales. Everybody has a bit different take on this, but what are some of how do you help people like really sell in a sense of lightness, authenticity, etc.?
The first step is the positioning, because selling starts with, what is my offer? What am I actually selling? And this is where a lot of people go into their Google Docs or talk with ChatGPT, and they make this beautiful thing and they think about it for weeks, months, and then there's nothing happening. But as soon as you have your offer, what you need to do is validate it. Because when you have a validated offer that you love and that you cannot shut up about, then it becomes easy to sell. That's the first layer. After all, the identity, of course. The identity is the first step, which makes you take these actions. Then if you actually have an offer that you love, then it's about finding the right people for that. So there's different strategies. And what I do with my clients is we focus on getting the validation as soon as we can, which means focusing on who is ready now to buy. So that is the short-term sales, which is something you always need in your business. You always need short-term sales, but you also need them fast to validate the offer. And then when my clients have worked with me for, I would say, about 6 weeks in the Expand Mastermind, that's the core offer that I have currently. Currently, it's like a 10-year offer, so it will be there for 10 years, but it just launched in January after a rebranding from the old Mastermind. And this, after about 6 weeks, we want to have a validated offer. We want to have you making offers to people with this offer, getting feedback, having done market research. A lot of people skip market research. They were doing it they were already skipping it before ChatGPT became a thing, but now people got so freaking lazy and they're not hiring business coaches anymore because they think ChatGPT can figure it all out. Especially in the premium space, ChatGPT is not capable at this point. Maybe it will be at some point, but right now it's just not. It's giving you more busy work because you're thinking you're being productive, but what it comes down to is it completely deletes all the nuance and the dialect that you need to know, because you need to know the language of your client, but with premium sales, you need to know the dialect. You really need to be in their head because they want to feel seen. They want to trust you. So when you're creating this offer, it needs to be validated. And the next step is selling it. Validating and selling is basically the same. Then we want to do long-term sales, because when you're focused on what's happening this month or this day or this moment, when you get in the downward spiral, what really helps is to have a long-term vision. A vision that can hold you, where you don't just show up in your business, oh, I feel good today, let me show up. Because especially as women, you know guaranteed that there's going to be a low because your cycle is there. So you know already, okay, there's going to be a moment that it's not going to work out for me. How are you going to hold up through that week? And that's when you don't want to be reactive and you don't want to have to think about, what am I going to post tomorrow? What am I going to post in the next month? Or what is the thing that I'm selling next month? You want to have clarity. You want to have offers that are ready to be sold. And that's when you start building the bigger vision with assets, with things that you can rely on. Because if your only strategy is posting and hoping, I call this post and pray, post and pray, that something will magically happen and someone will magically find you, that's not sustainable. And then you're wondering why your nervous system is dysregulated. Well, you're not giving yourself what you need. Like, your business should have monthly recurring revenue. You should know already, oh, the next month I already have 5K, 10K coming in, and everything else I do is a bonus. And then you're stacking. And that's what you want to create with sales, because if you're just focused on who's going to be my next client, you're going to feel salesy. You're going to feel like you're chasing. And guess what? Maybe you are, because that's the truth. If you're in this reactive moment, even when you have enough money on the bank, even if you have a lot of clients signing up every month, it still feels like chasing because you're chasing the next month. So it is about, okay, how do I show up? What is my long-term game plan? And especially for those who are still in this energy of hiring a business coach and that being the final option. And if this doesn't work, I will give up. That is the worst energy to be in. So when my clients hire me, it comes more from this energy of, I am ready again. I want to go deeper again. I've seen that there's still a gap and I want to close that gap, and I want to go beyond what I know is possible for me right now. And that's the moment when you should hire someone, because it's a different frequency. You go much faster. There's a lot more trust. It's this paradox of, like, you want to go faster, but if you want to have the results today, and you're kind of forcing something and it takes longer. But if you're like, I want to go fast, but I'm willing to do whatever, and I know this is a long-term game and I'm in it for at least the next 5 to 10 years, then you get results so much faster. So it's about short-term sales versus long-term. And then within sales, there's a difference between attracting, which is content and messaging and how you speak in the language, and embodied sales. And to me, embodied sales is really, can I close the sale? Is there leadership? Can I actually hold the end of the conversation? Because it's easy to show up in your marketing and to make a cute reel. It's also not easy for everyone, but it's the first thing that you see other people do. There's a lot of examples. But what a lot of people don't see is what happens when someone's actually interested in the work with you. What happens when they're on a sales call? What happens in the conversations in the DMs? And these are things that I also teach my clients, because it's a skill. You need to learn it. And the better your marketing is, the less sales you have. But you do need to have certain things in place. And that's what I call the premium buyer path, which has a lot of different assets where people can get to know you without you needing to show up every day on socials. Because we're building something bigger than just you, which means that your business should be able to hold you when you're sick, or when you're heartbroken, or when you're falling in love. The moments where you want to take a step back and really live your life, that's the moments that your business should not collapse, but actually keep growing without you.
Oh, you gave such insights on the structures, because it is a loaded question where it's like, okay, embodied sales starts with the offer. And how are you structuring your business in a way that you're going to be very relaxed? And it's validating the offer, I think, was huge. And understanding, like, the limits of Chat GPT. It can only do so much, honestly, especially when you're talking about higher level, bigger picture. And it really does, like, that nuance, that, like, humanness when you're trying to write copy. Just like, that sounds like GPT. And then it just it turns people off, you know?
Mm.
And anyway, so there was that aspect, looking at like recurring revenue, looking at the big vision, but also, okay, short term, let's validate the offer. I love that you have a 6 week build up for that. Like, that's awesome. And I think it's so true. It's like we're all looking at, okay, regulate the nervous system. But ultimately, the biggest part of that is creating your business intentionally and with certain structures.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's
I
just
see
like,
this so often, like where there's someone who preaches to be into somatic coach, or and they work with the nervous system and they have a lot of tools. But then in their actual life, when you open the curtain, it is not so pretty. They're really dysregulated. And it is because of the three core desires where most of the time they have a good relationship, they have good health relatively, they know how to take care of themselves, but they've completely neglected the wealth part. And that's where they actually can step up a lot more.
so there is an option. So I want to share your second gift because
Mm.
it is a podcast where I think it's such a generous podcast. So this is free for anybody who wants to continue learning some of the expertise that Aimee has. But tell us about it. Like, give us some more context.
Yeah, so this is one of the assets that I've also created in my business where if you lend into my world, I want you to know how I can serve you. And this is the collection of everything that I know about building a business model. I call it the premium expansion model that works best for coaches, healers, facilitators, retreat leaders to really create a business that can hold them, that can hold their depth, their passion, their fire, but also that can give you actually calm, consistent 5 to 10K income months where you know, okay, this is what I need to be building. This is the bigger picture. And this is something that I think a lot of people miss. They hire a business coach, they do another do it yourself course, they focus on how to go viral with reels. There's all these specific things, but it all exists separately from each other. And they try to connect the dots, but it always feels like something is still missing. And this is where my work really comes in because the person that I can work best with already has some knowledge about marketing, is already excited, wants to crack this code, is looking at it like, oh my God, yeah, I feel like I'm almost there. I'm on the edge. I want to get over there. I see a really cool community. I want to be a part of that as I'm growing. Because a lot of coaches, healers, facilitators, you're caretakers. We are caretakers. And then that comes sometimes from not being able to receive the support that you would also really want. And my clients come to me and they're just so excited that they found this community where they can fully be themselves, where they're fully seen in this community with other coaches and healers and facilitators building the same thing. But what it all comes down to is understanding what is the business model and how am I building this? Because when you start thinking more bigger picture, you start to see what the backbone in your business is. And then it starts to make sense. This month, I'm launching this offer. This month, I'm launching that offer. Your whole product suite starts to make sense together. Because yes, there could be competition, especially when you're not positioned the right way. But what a lot of people don't realize is that when you have multiple offers and you're not positioned the right way, your offers are competing with each other. So you are competing with yourself. And when the bigger picture falls into place, your offers start to sell each other. And that's what we're going to create, like really understanding strategically which offers do I have? How do they work together? How am I showing up on socials? Where else am I showing up? What is where the sales happen? If there's no sales happening, or if there's less, or if they want to just speed it up, where are we looking? What are we doing? What are we tweaking to really understand what does it take to build a business? And this podcast episode really breaks down the bigger picture. So to understand the foundation of how you can build a business like this and what it really takes to do so.
Yeah, thank you. What a great asset. So that will be linked in the show notes. And then you can also just reply podcast if you're not, for whatever reason, in a spot where you can get the link. And I love, we have to look at strategy and the self. I always think there's two pieces to success in any category, whether it's health or wealth. And for you, it's like you bring both together so well. And it's one of the reasons I wanted to invite you on, because it's like, yes, we need the strategy. And then we need the self-leadership, like doing the identity work, doing the nervous system. And I've seen people weighted too heavily on either or. The people who are really into personal development, their self-leadership, like they have some good tools. It can always be like, you can always keep growing, but then they kind of guess in the strategy and then their business isn't growing. And then of course they have to do all these regulation things because they're not making enough income, right? Or there's the people who are so heavy on strategy and then their health kind of goes down the tubes, or it's like they don't really build it in a way that they're lit up about. You know, it's like somebody told me to do this strategy and I better do it.
Yeah.
So I thank you so much for being here because I think you really have a gift and
Mm.
are just leading very intentionally for other people to take their zone of genius and what their work they're meant to do in the world and create a business that truly supports them and the mission of it. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for the wisdom that you've shared. And is there any
Mm.
last words you want to share?
I would say just go and take the action, because when you're taking the action, everything falls into place. Like when you're spiraling in your mind, then take massive, messy action and just go for it. And you will find out your truth. Like keep checking in with yourself, listen to your intuition. It's not just about finding the thing that is perfect for you when you find it. It's about finding something that resonates enough, go take the action, and then make it your own. Like this is what I teach when I teach my clients strategy, because there's 100,000 things that can work. And for whatever reason you're in business, whether it is just to make money, which is most of the time not my clients are really here because they have a calling and a deeper meaning. There's so many things that can work, but let's find out what is the best way for you. How do you want to structure your business? Because I teach premium sales, which to me makes the most sense because it's about depth, it's about intimacy with clients. There's a lot more that you can build from this because it's the foundation in your business, and then there's separate ways to serve everyone, but there's clarity and coherence in this business model. But there's many other ways to go about it. And when someone chooses to go with low ticket as the core in their business, amazing if that works for you. Most of the time I see people do that who are more in it for the money because, yeah, like these days you can get all the information from ChatGPT. You can very easily make a low ticket offer. But then, of course, you need to learn the skill to scale it and to reach enough people. But for me, that business model really misses the depth because you are very limited in the value that you're giving, in the connection with the clients, in the real transformation. So if you're here for real transformation, probably not your business model. So that's how people need to be looking at their business. Like, what is the reason that I'm building this? And how can I make sure that I get the support that I need to make this a reality? Because if you really want it, it can exist. Every desire that you have, there's a reality to meet that.
And I love action. Focus on action. It brings the clarity. It gives you that feedback loop. And that's something that's just like, just get it out there. Will this offer even work?
Mm.
Well, I like this. I don't know. Let's just go. Like you can tell like the
Right?
next best step. And then that's where the clarity comes. And then
Yeah.
you just
The
move quick.
only the only dangerous thing with that is that when you are trying it and you lack the right strategy, then you might make that mean something about your offer. But actually there was nothing wrong with your offer. It was just not in the right rep of messaging, or it was not the right type of outreach, or you didn't know how to reach the people. So there's a nuance there. So go and find a proven roadmap, work with someone, or ask for advice from someone that actually has done it. But yeah, like go and take action. That's the main thing.
Yes, and being mindful of like, okay, am I just guessing or can I talk to somebody who's been there, done that and helps other people? Can just save yourself so much time, energy,
Yeah.
and like ultimately, what's the like you want to be successful, so set yourself up for success. Ah,
Right? I think sometimes you put money on a pedestal, and money is really a resource to serve you to get what you want faster.
yes. Amen. Aimee, thank you so much. Everybody listening, thank you for being here. And we will see you on the other side and at the links that we're sending. And have a great day.
And thank you for having me.